20 years, won't do an interview. Nobody's ever talked to her, and she's never been interviewed anywhere.
So you thought the Diddy documentary was explosive?
What I just told you applies to 7 people.
That was just the trailer. The most shocking part of Netflix's Diddy, The Reckoning, isn't what made it in, but what got deliberately deleted.
How they all end up with that. That's part of what you get.
Katt Williams claims these aren't just cameos. They're co-stars in the chaos, and he's confirmed it himself. He's not whispering anymore, he's screaming, and what he's saying will blow the roof off Hollywood.
For all of them, it don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, T.G. Jakes, any of them, all lies will be exposed, that's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
Picture this, early 2024. Katt Williams strolls into Club Shay Shay, dripping in prophecy and petty, and drops a bomb that most people laughed off at the time. All lies will be exposed, he said, and everyone thought Katt was just doing Katt. Those same folks are dead silent now because everything he predicted came true. His latest revelations pull back the velvet curtain on one of entertainment's most guarded secrets, 7 celebrities completely removed from 50 Cent's Netflix documentary, not because they didn't matter, but because they mattered too much.
I came in this business saying I was going to expose. When I talked about Michael Jackson, when I talked about R. Kelly, they canceled me for these things because why would you talk about another black dude?
Word on the Hollywood streets says 50 Cent, the executive producer and reigning king of petty revenge, got approached with serious bribes to leave certain names out of the doc. Grown men showed up with hush money because they were terrified of a Netflix series, and 50 may have taken the high road, or maybe he just played smart. Cutting these names might have been the only way to get the documentary on air without the whole thing getting buried under lawsuits and non-disclosure agreements. While we were all screaming at the drama that did make it into the doc, the real tea got swept under the rug.
Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. And we don't care nothing about the other side. Period. Period. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up.
Katt Williams made it clear in his not-so-cryptic rants that certain people, the ones who won't do interviews for 20 years, are being protected, and not just protected, but shielded from the law, from the media, from us. These people don't just have lawyers, they have handlers who buy press conferences instead of attending them. According to Katt, every single one of them has a seat at the dark table, whether from Diddy's infamous flavor camps or those late-night industry after-parties we're not supposed to ask about. These names were in the room where it happened, but Netflix didn't dare name them because these are the names that make the industry tick, the ones that could shut a whole platform down with a phone call. The names you're about to hear go deeper and hold more power than you think. According to Katt Williams, they're the real reason Diddy thought he was untouchable. From comedy kings to pop legends, we're diving into the 7 major names that 50 Cent removed from the Netflix doc, and you've seen every single one of them on your screen. You just had no idea what was hiding behind the fame.
Diddy, 4 years. Say that again. 27 years. 4 years. Meanwhile, they tried to give me 4 years with 2 blunts. I had no intention of smoking in the first place. Same 4 years. I don't give a fuck. Being an ass-kicking devil worshiper is not against the law.
Let's start with a name that made everybody pause when Katt Williams even hinted at it. Snoop Dogg. America's favorite weed-smoking uncle, Martha Stewart's bestie, and the Super Bowl halftime MVP has an image that's just that, a carefully curated, family-friendly mirage. Sources. And Allie Carter, who's been blowing the whistle since 2020, claimed there's something far darker behind the gin and juice vibes. Snoop's name was allegedly removed from the documentary, not because he didn't know Diddy, but because he knew him too well, like front row seat to the chaos well. According to Carter, Snoop wasn't just a participant, he was supposedly worse than Diddy, and that claim deserves a second to marinate.
And then recently it just came out again that Snoop Dogg got accused of trafficking children. And what did everybody do? Ooh, Snoop Dogg is at the halftime. I'm going to the halftime. But we canceled Dr. Seuss and Jemima. Nobody mad. Nobody.
Back in December 2020, Carter dropped Snoop's name alongside Diddy's in a post that basically got her digitally torched. People dragged her, called her delusional, accused her of clout chasing, and then receipts started showing up. Whispers turned into leaks, allegations of inappropriate dealings with minors surfaced, and just when you'd expect a media firestorm or a cancellation, nothing happened. Snoop lit up the stage at the Super Bowl instead, rapping next to Dr. Dre and Eminem, while the world munched hot wings and posted memes. Allie Carter said the 56 stage letters were dripping blood, and whether that was symbolism or not, it was definitely ignored. If 50 Cent had included Snoop in the reckoning, Netflix wouldn't have aired a single second because Snoop is still too powerful, too connected, too profitable, and taking him down would have taken down half of hip-hop with him.
Super Bowl habits. They were dripping down from the letters, the LVI. I know, but that's fine. It's fine.
The next name is Kevin Hart, and yes, the funny guy from Jumanji who yells a lot and sells out arenas. Kevin's been very strategic about how he approaches the Diddy situation by joking about it and hinting, but never stepping over the line. Multiple sources say Kevin was deep in the puffy flavor camp scene, and those flavor camps were not summer camps, but exclusive, invite-only, high-security retreats where young, impressionable talent got their first taste of industry access and allegedly a whole lot more. Kevin was there on camera, and there's one clip that's gone viral 100 times over where Diddy and Kevin are sitting a little too close on a bed, making uncomfortable jokes that suddenly don't feel like jokes anymore. Kevin hosted the BET Awards recently, and right in the middle of his set, he dropped a line so subtle most folks missed it. "No after parties tonight," he said. "That's where stuff gets slippery."
Hey, come here. Don't sit on the bed at night. No homo. No, just don't get close to the bed. Don't get close, but it's just like, yo, we want to thank you for hosting the thing, man.
Everyone laughed, but if you really listened, that was a confession because Kevin knew what those after parties were, and he'd seen what went down behind the velvet ropes. He made sure the awards show ended early on a Monday night, so nobody could throw a Diddy-style after party, and that wasn't comedy, that was self-preservation. Orlando Brown, the walking chaos generator, accused Kevin of taking $50 million to unvirgin his hole. And while Orlando is about as stable as a three-legged table, he's been weirdly right about a lot of things lately. 50 made the call to cut Kevin, protect the comedy world, and avoid opening Pandora's box unless he was ready for the whole industry to fall.
Somebody to invite him in. Hey, don't do it. Okay? We all saw the movie Sinners. Don't let his here. So he can bite somebody. So he can bite Playboy Cardi again.
This next one is criminally underrated in all this mess. Mase. The shiny suit legend, the preacher turned rapper turned disappearing act, and if anybody knows where the bodies are buried, it's Mase, because this man wasn't just in the building, he was holding the blueprints. When the doc dropped though, not a peep from Mase, no archival footage, no interviews, no mention, nothing. Mase is either still afraid of Diddy or still owned by him. Back in the early 2000s, Mase fought for a decade to get out of his Bad Boy Records contract, and even when he finally got free, he never really escaped. There's this one infamous interview where Diddy shows up at a radio station with Mase, acting like they're still tight while Mase looks nervous and grateful like a hostage who just got promised a sandwich. At one point, he says it took me 10 years to get this paperwork right here, and he meant it. 50 probably figured, why include a guy who's going to play mute the whole time or carefully filter everything through a PR team that still reports to Diddy? Buckle up, because this is where the story stops being just messy and starts being downright radioactive.
No, this is freedom paper.
Let's talk about Meek Mill, and if you thought his name getting cut from the Netflix doc was random, think again. Meek's been orbiting the Diddy solar system for a while through industry events, late-night hangouts, and whispered sightings at certain invite-only parties. When the Diddy scandal started snowballing, Meek's name didn't just come up, it got dragged right into the center, and yet 50 Cent, Mr. No-Holds-Barred himself, still chose to leave Meek out of the doc for one word: liability. Orlando Brown once said, "You can't unreceive what your butthole received," and who was he allegedly talking about? Meek. Normally, you'd dismiss that as Orlando being his usual headline or handcuffed self, but this time, the internet didn't laugh because an audio clip leaked that people claim features Meek Mill and Diddy caught in a compromising conversation recorded at a so-called freak-off in Calabasas. This wasn't some grainy 2-second clip. It was clear and damning and gone within hours as every platform scrubbed it with DMCA takedowns flying like confetti, but not before people heard it. The worst part is it wasn't even Nicki who allegedly leaked it, but someone inside the circle who wanted Meek buried. Jaguar Wright, industry insider turned whistleblower, added fuel to the fire by saying she believed it was Diddy in the clip too. She's been exposing entertainment's dirty laundry for years, and unlike Orlando, she knows names, dates, and contracts. When she speaks, people listen, and after she backed the audio as authentic, 50 Cent hit the eject button. Including Meek in the dock would have made the entire thing radioactive because Meek still got power and lawyers on speed dial, and one wrong move would have tied 50 up in lawsuits until 2060.
Real rap.
You think that audio that they put out was real?
Yeah, that was Nicki put that out there. That Nicki recorded that at the freak off.
Now let's shift to Justin Bieber, and this one hits different because unlike the others, Justin's not an alleged perpetrator, he's a victim. A teenage pop prodigy handed over to Diddy like a rental car, and there's actual footage of Diddy telling people he had custody of Justin for 48 hours when the boy was maybe 15 years old. The look in his eyes wasn't excitement, it was fear wrapped in confusion, and it's disturbing in hindsight and now terrifying. Justin lived with Diddy, went on trips with Diddy, did promo appearances and after parties and private events, and you really think all that was mentorship? Recently, when a paparazzo asked Justin about the Netflix documentary, his response said everything you need to know. "Don't ask me about that man, ever. Some things I moved on from for my own peace," he said. And then he added, "I was a kid. I didn't know anything." You could hear the pain in his voice, the same pain that's been following him since his teenage breakdowns, the drugs, the meltdowns, the sudden exit from music that people blamed on fame. Maybe it wasn't just fame, though. Maybe it was what happened during those 48 hours and everything after. 50 Cent is many things, petty, savage, opportunistic, but he's also a dad, and even he knows that dragging a traumatized child back into the spotlight for views is too far. Justin was never going to be in this documentary. Not because he didn't belong, but because what happened to him is too dark for any platform to show. Even Netflix has a line, and when it comes to Justin, that line is thick, red, and non-negotiable. If Justin was the kid they took, guess who sent him there? Usher. We've talked about Justin Bieber, the kid who got caught in the storm, but if Bieber was the storm chaser, Usher was the original storm. He wasn't just part of Diddy's inner circle, he lived with him as a teenager, being handed off to Diddy like a rising star being mentored. What kind of mentorship includes clubs, late-night parties, and unfiltered access to an adult entertainment lifestyle before you even hit legal age? That's not mentorship, that's industry grooming in a designer suit. Usher has never really spoken on what happened in those years, but what he has said is more than enough. Usher once admitted that he saw things he couldn't unsee, and that's direct, not metaphorical, not vague. He saw things. Usher didn't just know Diddy, he sent Justin Bieber to him and helped launch Justin's career. We're not saying Usher intentionally walked him into a nightmare, but when you've already been through the fire and you send someone else in, you either think they'll survive it or you've made peace with what they're about to go through. Sources close to the Netflix doc say there was a full segment on Usher with interviews and footage, but when producers reviewed the content, they pulled the plug, not because it was untrue, but because it was too disturbing. According to one insider, if we aired what we had on Usher, it wouldn't just be a documentary, it would be a criminal investigation. A man who's still topping charts, still performing, still prepping for his Super Bowl halftime show in 2025 has a past so dark that Netflix wouldn't air it. When 50 Cent decided to cut Usher, it wasn't a cover-up. It was a calculated survival tactic, because including Usher in this story would make the whole entertainment machine start to collapse. Record labels, media companies, fashion brands have all invested billions into his clean-cut legacy, and one wrong edit would create fallout that's not just a scandal, but an economic crisis. Usher isn't the final boss in this dark level of the entertainment underworld, though. The last name 50 Cent allegedly cut, the name that makes everybody in the business shut up and cross their legs, is Clive Davis, and if you just asked who's that exactly, that's how he likes it. Clive Davis isn't a celebrity, he's not a rapper or singer, he's the guy who signs them, builds them, owns them. This man is the invisible kingmaker of the music industry. Whitney Houston was his, Alicia Keys was his, Diddy was absolutely his. Clive is the one who allegedly showed Diddy the ropes, the real ropes, and if Diddy threw the wildest parties in hip-hop, imagine what Clive's looked like. This is the man you don't expose because you literally can't. His fingerprints are on every contract, every award show, every A-list career. And Diddy was just the frontman, while Clive was the architect. Clive was removed from the documentary because including him wouldn't just kill the project, it would kill Netflix itself. We're talking about a man so connected, so embedded in the media and music landscape that taking him down would require global cooperation, and no streaming platform is that brave. 50 Cent might play tough online, but even he knows that if you go after Clive, you don't get a second season, you don't get a press tour, you don't even get a lawyer, you just get erased. 50 did what he had to do by axing the Clive Davis segment and never looking back because nobody in their right mind wants to become the next cautionary tale. Usher silenced, Clive erased, 7 names removed like they were never part of the story, but thanks to Katt Williams, we now know they were the story. The ones who never got touched, never got questioned, never got exposed until now. Now you know. 7 powerful names: Snoop Dogg, Kevin Hart, Mace, Meek Mill, Justin Bieber, Usher, and Clive Davis, silently sliced from the final cut of Diddy. The reckoning, not because they weren't relevant, but because they were too relevant. If they stayed in, the whole doc would have imploded before the first frame even aired. 50 Cent made a choice that some call cowardice and others call genius. But one thing's for sure, it was survival. Because when you start pulling at the threads of Hollywood's dirty laundry, the entire machine starts to unravel. Diddy's facing, 4 years in, prison. But let's not act like that's the end. According to legal insiders, there are still over 150 lawsuits heading his way, many involving minors, and that's not just scandal, that's a full-blown federal reckoning. If Diddy falls alone, though, the system survives, and if the focus stays on him, then everyone above him stays clean. This documentary almost exposed the food chain, but those top-tier names are still safe, still untouched, still flying first class and signing deals. The very people who shaped Diddy into what he became were never meant to be seen, and 50 Cent knew it. Katt Williams called all this when he said loud and clear that all lies will be exposed. And that wasn't shade, that was a prophecy. He knew this wasn't just about Diddy, but about the structure, the old guard, the untouchables, the folks who sit behind tinted glass at award shows, clapping and smiling while their fingerprints are on everything rotten in the industry. Most of the public still doesn't see it because they're too busy arguing about who had the best verse on Mo Money Mo Problems to realize the entire hip-hop industry might have been a puppet show this whole time with strings pulled by invisible hands. The cracks are showing, though. More leaks are coming, alleged tapes, old footage, whistleblowers crawling out of retirement with NDA-breaking energy, and Katt said it best when he put it this way: if you got a problem with the truth, you already know why. Whether it's Kevin Hart making slippery jokes, or Justin Bieber begging not to be asked about that man again, these are not coincidences. These are patterns. The real story wasn't in the Netflix doc, it was in what they were afraid to show you, what they had to leave on the cutting room floor to keep the whole thing from detonating. Who's next? If Diddy's just the beginning, who's the next domino to fall? Will another docuseries dare to name Clive? Will Usher finally speak out? Will Kevin Hart ever drop the act and tell us what really happened in those after parties? Or will we keep pretending our favorite celebrities live in a sanitized world where the worst thing they ever did was get caught cheating on a yacht? Katt Williams has been screaming it from the mountaintop. It's not about race, it's not about fame. It's about God's side and the other side. Whether you believe that or not, it's clear that 2024 was just the start. The masks are cracking, the secrets are leaking, the lies are already crumbling, and the only question left is, are you ready for what comes next?